My name is Kennedy and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I created the perfect soft matte glam. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Before we get into this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also make sure you give this video a thumbs up. But let's just go ahead and jump right in. If you read the title, you see that we're going to be doing a really pretty soft glam makeup. And by soft glam, I just mean it's going to be all matte, just super soft, super airbrushed. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm just going to start by clipping my hair back, and I actually need new clips. I got these little metal ones at the beauty supply store and they are just not cute. So if you have any clip recommendations that will not crease the hair, let me know because I would love to get some new clips. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So my skin is already nice and prepped and washed and moisturized, so that's going to be the very first step that you want to do. Even if you have oily skin, you're still going to always make sure that you're moisturizing the skin, and this is just really going to prep for a flawless application. So now is where you can go in with the translucent powder of your choice. I love to go in with the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and this is actually in the shade Honey. So I'm just taking that powder just on a dry beauty blender. I actually forgot to wet this, but I'm just going to be using it dry, and I'm just putting it on my eyebrow area, and I'm just really pressing this into the skin. And this is just really going to help give us that soft matte finish even underneath the makeup. So I'm just pressing this in this area, and you can naturally see where I have a little bit of shine coming through. So these are the areas that you just want to set with that powder, and then even the smile lines. And this step is just really gonna help with creasing in this area if you struggle with the foundation creasing in your smile lines. Alright, so let's keep it moving. The third thing that you want to do is the brows, and this is just a personal preference depending on the person. I feel like the biggest question that I get is, should I be doing my brows before foundation or after? And the answer is, it's completely up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. So I'm just going to be going in with my Morphe eyebrow pencil, and I'm just going to be starting by brushing my brows straight up. And this is actually one of my favorite pencils. I have been using this for a really long time now, and I was using the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil, but that one is expensive, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it'd be running out too fast. So I really like this one, and it has a really skinny tip just like that one, and this one is in the color Java. And I'm going to be creating more of a fluffy brow style for this look. So I am just starting underneath my brows, and I'm creating tiny little hair strokes. And by hair strokes, I just mean like tiny little lines. Then when I get towards the front of the brow, I usually just take my finger and like pull on the skin a little bit, and it just makes the skin a little bit more easy to draw on. And I just create those lines in the front. And I also just like to go in with this brow pencil, and this one is by Juvia's Place, and it's just going to give you that like brow stroke look. So I'm going in with this one as well, and I'm just creating a few tiny little lines. So this is how the brow is looking. I did just go ahead and add foundation to the top of the brow, and I just cleaned it up using a little bit of concealer. So I'm just going to be showing y'all exactly how I did that. So I'm just going in with a little bit of my foundation, and you can use anything. I'm just using my NARS Soft Matte Foundation, and you can use whatever foundation for this step. Just make sure that it does match your skin tone. So I'm just taking that foundation and just creating a straight line right across the top of my brow. And already you can see that this is just creating more of a clean brow, and it's just really giving us that structure and shape, and just really taming those brow strokes that we created. So this is just the first step, and then I'm just going in and just lightly pressing the product in around those fake brow strokes that we created. And now we can go in and conceal the bottom, and this is just the e.l.f. concealer in the color Deep Olive, and I'm just going in with that same brush, and I'm going to basically be starting underneath the arch of the brow and just lightly tracing underneath here. So I'm just going in and basically just bringing the concealer all the way in, but kind of like tapering it off. And then when I get to the inside, I'm just going to be taking my finger and lightly pressing this down. And this is just really going to give us that gradient brow effect. And then after that, I'm just going to be taking a little bit more of that concealer and just applying this all over my lid, and basically just blending it in with the concealer that I put directly underneath my brow. So after that, you just want to go in with a translucent powder. I'm just taking that same one, and I'm using a fluffy brush, and I'm just setting this whole area, including in the actual brows. And this is going to make the brows look a little bit more soft and light, which I really like, just because I don't like when my brows look super dark anymore. So this step is also just going to help create that super soft matte look. So brows are on, and now I'm just going to be taking a little bit of my brow gel, and I actually don't use a lot of this product. I find that with this product, the more that you use, the less that it stays, and the less that you use, the more that it stays. So I just feel like I only need a little bit in order for mine to stay. Like if I put too much, I feel like it stops holding. after a while because there's too much product in there. So this is definitely the start of the show. This foundation is so good. I've been using this for like a year now, and it's just honestly my favorite foundation. No matter what I try, I always go back to it. The formula for this foundation is just so soft, and it really does give you that super soft finish. So I'm just going in with the color Marquises or Marquises, I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't know if the Q is like silent, or the shade Medium Deep 5, and I'm just going to start by stippling this into the skin. I'm just going to do this side of my face just so that you guys can see the difference, and just so that you can see how good this foundation actually is. So foundation is on, and I just want to take a minute. Do y'all see how good this looks on my skin? Like, I cannot make this up. This foundation is just so good, and it's so comfortable, and the formula and just the coverage is just amazing. So just a side by side, I know y'all see the difference, and it's not too much. Like, I feel like it don't look heavy at all. Like, it barely looks like I'm even wearing makeup, but the coverage is so good. And I'm just going to start to stipple it in on this side as well. And I always just apply the foundation to the back of my hand, and I just work from there. So I am just working this into the skin, and I'm just using this brush from Morphe, and this brush actually came out last year when Shayla and Morphe did that like foundation collaboration. If you bought the foundation, then they gave you this brush for free, and this has become my favorite foundation brush. So definitely a good brush. And you always want to make sure that you blend this area too, just so that you don't have no lines of demarcation. And you just want to take this up, and with this brush, if you notice, I'm not swiping really hard at all. I'm literally just like tapping it into the skin and using like a stippling motion, and this is just really going to help us build coverage as well. I always do my forehead last just because I don't like when there's too much product on my forehead. I don't like blending makeup in my hairline or like in my lace or anything like that. And as you can see, I didn't even have to go in with like multiple layers. I only went in with one small layer, and it gave me all the coverage that I needed. So foundation is on, and now if you notice, I didn't put anything around the perimeters of my face, and that's because I like to go in with the bronzer, and the bronzer that I'm going to be using is from Fenty Beauty, and this is in the color Cocoa Naughty. And I'm just going in with a smaller brush, and I just like to place this around the perimeter of my skin and kind of bring back those rich tones and those deep tones that kind of got washed out with the foundation. So I also like to go in and just get like smaller areas that I may have missed, just to give us that color. So I like to add it there, and then on the other side of my cheekbones, like I said, this is just really going to bring that depth back into the skin, and it's just really going to give us a little bit more color. So now we are moving on to concealer, and I'm just going in with my concealer underneath my eyes, and this is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and this is the color Maple. When I get to the center of my nose here, I'm just kind of creating more of a clean line, and this is going to help us with our nose contour. So I think concealing is my favorite part of my makeup routine, because not only does it just brighten this entire area, but it just makes the face look a little bit more lifted. So that's why I like to go in and take the concealer all the way up in this area. So when blending, you just want to use really light motions, and also try to keep the product in this small concentrated area. You don't need to go like all the way down here when you're blending out your concealer. You just want to keep it here, just so that it can give you that bright under eye look. And then what I like to do, just to blend out the inside, I'll close my eyes and just take whatever is left on the beauty blender and take it up on my eyelid. So now what you want to do is just go back in, and you want to diffuse the outer corner. So I'm going back in with that foundation brush, and I'm just stippling the outsides of the concealer. So I am a full coverage girl, so I want a little bit more coverage and just a little bit more of that golden olivey tone underneath my eye. So I am going to be going in with this cream concealer palette. So this one is from MAC, and I love these because you can basically just customize your own shade. So it just depends on what your complexion is. But with these palettes, I really love the concept of creating your perfect skin tone and just being able to mix and really get the coverage and color that you want. As you can see, the under eye looks way more bright and way more golden. So now I'm just going to go back in with that foundation brush and do the same thing and stipple around this area. And I'm also going to be taking it along the sides of my nose here, and same thing on this side. And I'm just going in and blending out whatever is left on the brush down the center of my nose, just to add some brightness down my nose too. And now what you want to do is just go in and set these areas with the powder. And I'm going in and I'm just pressing this powder directly underneath my eyes. And I'm being very gentle with this too. You don't want to press too hard because you don't want to disturb the product underneath. And I am just obsessed with like a really, really soft, bright golden under eye, and this powder is so freaking good. If you're around my complexion or a little bit darker or even a little bit lighter, I would highly recommend trying out the Honey Translucent Powder from Laura Mercier. It just really does give you that soft look without looking ashy. So I'm now going in with a brush and I'm just brushing away any excess powder that's just sitting on top of the skin. And as I'm brushing it away, I'm kind of like stippling it in. And I'm actually taking just a little bit on my forehead just to make sure that I'm kind of even. Like, you don't want this area to be really, really bright and then the rest of the skin not blended. So I am just going in and adding just a little bit on my forehead. So now I'm going in with a little bit more of that bronzer on a fluffy brush, and I'm just taking it on my cheekbones. And I'm just basically blending the concealer and the bronzer together now. And it's nice and matte and even. We've added our bronzer and now we just have to go in and add our blush. So for today's video, I'm going to be using a new product. This is the e.l.f. Putty Blush, and I'm just going to be going in with a beauty blender and setting this right on my cheeks, like my upper cheek area here. And this is just going to give us a little bit of color. And the reason that I switched over to cream blush is because I just feel like I really, really like the way it makes my skin look, and it just gives me like a tad bit of radiance. And this actually looks really, really pretty. I haven't used this too many times, so I just really wanted to play around with it today, and it looks really, really good. I feel like the color is perfect. Now we just want to go in and set the entire face. So whenever you're doing a look like this, it's important that you set the whole face because you want the whole face to be matte. I'm just going in with a powder that matches my skin tone. You could also use a pressed powder, but this is just the Morphe translucent powder, and this one, like I said, matches my skin tone. So I'm just taking this on a fluffier brush, and I'm just setting the entire face with this powder. And anytime you set the face with any type of powder, it's just going to lock in the product and create a longer wear time and also give you a softer matte finish. So once you have the entire face set, now we can officially move on to the eyes. So we are back. I just decided to do this eye off camera just so that y'all can have some type of reference going into the eye look. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I did a soft glam with like a twist of a warm, like amberish brown here, and I thought that this was perfect for the fall. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So I'm just gonna be going into my Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm just gonna be taking this shade here called Book. I'm just putting this all in my crease, and I just like to stab it on the outer corner and go in circular motions to blend it out. And then I like to go in to like the inside of the inner eye, and I like to blend it upward towards my brow and inside in this whole area, almost creating the illusion of a nose contour here. You just basically want to combine this outer area with the inner area and just basically make those two meet. So I just decided to zoom the camera in just so that y'all can be a little bit closer, but I am just going to be taking this shade from the palette called Boo Bear, and it's a bit of a darker brown, and this is just basically going to add in like a little bit more drama and depth into the outer corner of the eye so that when I look forward, this section of the eye looks a little bit darker. And then lastly, just going in with the darkest brown in the palette called Cinnamon Roll, and I'm just applying that shade in circular motions, and then whatever is left on the brush, I am just going to be going in and basically blending it right underneath this arch here. Putting the darker shade here is just really going to add some contrast, and when I put on the lid shade, it's going to make it just look way more bright. So now I'm going in with this palette from Huda Beauty. This is the brown palette, and I'm taking this shade here, which is like a cinnamon, warm, amber, rich tone, and I'm just taking that and applying it right on the outer, not corner, but like right after I put the darker shade. I'm putting it right there. But I really like this color. So now I'm going in with this terracotta shade, and I'm just tapping this all the way up, and I'm just basically blending it into that copper. And once I get to the copper, I'm just going to softly diffuse those two together. So once we have this color nice and applied, now I'm just switching back on to my original brush, and I'm just basically cleaning around that, creating a small soft arch here. This is so pretty already. I love a super blown out soft glam. That has been like my go-to for like the past year. So I'm just blowing that out, and now kind of just blending in my brows with the front of that. And now we can go into eyeliner. So if you look at this eye, you'll see that the eyeshadow is the same, but now we have to add in that eyeliner. And I kind of started from the inner corner and I lifted mine up just to create the illusion of a more lifted eye. So I just like to look down, and then I like to utilize the side of the eyeliner. So when you use the eyeliner, don't try to like draw directly with the tip. Like lay it down on the side and drag it out that way. And then whenever I'm trying to get a tight line, I'll also like very gently, so you don't mess up the rest of the makeup, take your finger and kind of like stretch this area, and this also helps me create more of a straight line. And my last tip, just make sure you have an eyeliner that's liquidy. If you have an eyeliner that's too dried out, it's going to make your job 10 times harder, just because it's going to be like streaking and it's not going to be super fluent. So make sure you have a really good eyeliner. So now I'm just going to be going in with the black shadow on a small brush, and I'm just literally just going to be going back and forth on this outer corner. So as you're smoking that out, you just want to take it all the way up, and eventually what you want to do is take that original blending brush that had the brown eyeshadow on it and just go in an upward motion and eventually create almost a C shape on this outer corner. So now I'm just going to go in and add my mascara and my lashes. When I actually just apply my lashes using my finger, so I'm just going to look down and place the lash at a diagonal. So lashes are applied, and now I'm just going to go add my lower mascara. And I'm also just adding a little bit of mascara on the outer corner of my lashes just to give them even more of that lifted look. So all we did off camera was just add like a few minor touches to the eye. So all I did was just add a black shadow on the outer corner here, and then I just cleaned it up using my concealer brush, and I just blended it out. So the last thing that we have to do is just the lips now. And I'm just going in with my favorite lipstick by MAC, and this is in the color Bad and Bear. So that completes today's look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all learned some tips and tricks. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, and if you did enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. But that is all I have for today's video, and I will see you in the next one.